Throw the slack, you fucking moron!
Hi, welcome to Screen Share, a movie podcast about a dog turning into a monster with a bunch of little tentacles. But I don't think they're tentacles. They're something different, and that's weird. And there's a lot of juices everywhere, too. My name's Calder.
And I'm Adam.
And today we're talking about The Thing from 1982, directed by John Carpenter. What if an alien was in a base in the Arctic? That's the question that we're going to answer today.
Every movie you've ever seen started as a question. And the question for this movie is, what if a little alien got in an Arctic base?
What if there was a Star War? Which one's that?
Yeah, that's Battlestar Galactica.
What if they lost the Ark?
That was Raiders of the Lost Ark. Indiana
what
Jones.
if dog die?
That is Wonder Dog. Did you see that film?
Yeah.
Or no, was it Underdog?
I don't know. I was talking about John Wick. We'll do one more. What if there was
I thought
One
you meant
Piece?
Marley and Me. Oh, that's probably Percy Jackson, because
that's actually
the second
true.
one, because they go and get like the fleece, remember, and then it
I know.
resurrects the girl in
That's
the
what
tree.
I was talking about. I was obviously talking about Sea of Monsters.
I'm pretty sure all of those were correct.
Yeah.
But the point is, every movie's got a question. That's why, Calder, you want to make movies because you've got so many questions.
Yeah, I'm just not really sure what's going on currently. Mostly
What's your top question right now?
My number one question right now. Why don't my parents love me? Probably. And
That would be a good movie.
That's the question for a lot of movies.
Yeah,
I've
seen a lot of
that's
ones
the
like
question.
that.
Yeah. Mostly Spielberg movies. And Noah Baumbach movies.
Yeah.
Mostly movies made by white men. That's the question.
Yeah.
Why don't my parents love me?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, The Thing. One of the greatest horror movies of all time, in my opinion.
One of the greatest things, may I say, if we're doing wordplay here.
If we're talking about the effects, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
What did you think? I was a little nervous about you watching this because I love this movie a lot.
You were afraid you'd scare me a little?
And also I was worried that Adam would come on here and be like, well, the reviewers at the time, which we'll get into, and absolutely spit roast it.
Bold prediction for you to think that I did any research for your movie when I barely ever do any for mine.
I wasn't saying you did research. I was saying that you just have a negative opinion of the movie. Because it's not like the same thing that
you were saying. I'd come on and be like, critics back in the day didn't like it.
You'd be like, Siskel said. What's her name? Pauline Kael said.
Bert and Ernie.
This is... Yeah. They all love their movie reviews because they have such a healthy, cool dynamic.
Oh,
I don't
know, Bert. The thing is...
Ernie, shut the fuck up, you fucking skunk.
There it is. That's my
Bert.
favorite epi of the Bert and Ernie show, which is the famous show they were from, actually. But I don't know. I did not expect what to expect, is what I was about to say. I didn't know what to expect. I thought I knew what happened in this movie. I thought it was like there's just a bunch of people holed up in the Arctic, and then like a thing shows up and kills them all. But like it's more of like a concrete thing. I thought it was like The Blob or something.
It's like, what if there was a blob?
Yeah, that's the question. That's also the question for Monsters vs. Aliens, the DreamWorks film.
That's actually a good movie. We should do that soon. Probably
should.
Oscar movies.
Oh, yeah. It was probably nominated, if we're being honest.
I'll check that while you give your opinion.
Okay. So the movie starts off with a shot of a spaceship, and I was like, odd. And then it kind of... I didn't realize that it did a time jump until much later in the movie. Because they give a date once they get to, like, Antarctica, but they don't give a date for the spaceship shot, but they are in different. They're 100 years, or no, 100,000 years apart. I apologize.
Yeah. Because, spaceships aren't coming now, but
Yeah.
they were coming then.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in here that, as I go deeper and deeper into my alien conspiracy rabbit holes of
Yeah.
them having contributed everything to the world, even though that they're not here, so why would they have done it back then? Maybe that's a bad question, but there's
Maybe
a lot of
they are
stuff in
here.
this movie where it's like just the same shit that people are posting on Reddit.
Yeah.
But did you like the movie? Because I know you didn't know
Yeah.
what to expect. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't know how horror and how, like, because I feel like there's a type of horror that's like a mystery horror, where they like gotta figure something out. It's not just like, and this movie was a lot of that, and I thought it did a really good job of uncovering things really slowly, but also most of the characters, there's a couple exceptions, most of the characters make like very logical decisions, and the things they're doing are like, yeah, that's actually probably what they should be doing in this situation. It just doesn't work because they're fighting something that like
is beyond
everything.
Logic. Yeah.
But yeah, the effects are awesome. I thought like all the acting was excellent. It's shot very fun and interesting. It's cool to see like a horror movie where they really do not shy away from showing the monster, which is kind of different from last week when we did Alien, where it's like it feels like they show the alien very sparingly, where in this movie it's just like the thing kind of is seeing the thing. Like the thing about the movie is being like, whoa, that's gross and disgusting and scary,
Yeah.
Also,
I
Kurt
think
Russell.
I know, wild. And Keith David. You've seen Keith David in like 100 things.
I definitely have.
He's the dad in Nope who gets killed by like the quarter or whatever that comes out of the alien. So the effects. Let's talk about the effects.
Yeah.
The person who did the effects was Rob Bottin. And he's a pretty legendary guy in the effects world.
Was he before this?
A little bit. He'd worked on some big things, but this was really like his biggest thing. I'll give you some other credits of his. So there's this movie. Before this movie, he worked on some Creatures in the Cantina scene.
Cool.
And then he does RoboCop, Total Recall, works on Seven and Fight Club, and he's Oscar nominated for Legend, the Ridley Scott movie that comes out after
cool.
Alien.
The
So
one
he's-
that I
he
mentioned looking cool that I'd never heard of in my life.
Yeah. But this is like, it's kind of like another level. And this movie didn't get any Oscar nominations. It made $19 million on $15 million budget. It got absolutely roasted at the box office. Or not at the box office, by the critics. Well, also at the box office.
I'm curious what the negative things to say about it were. Was it
Well,
like pacing issues?
It was, they didn't generally, now remember this is 1982, and this movie
Yeah.
came out in the middle of a recession. And people didn't like the cynical and anti-authoritarian tone and the over-the-top effects. So the effects were negative.
Because it was too much.
I guess so.
And then it was a negative that they didn't listen to the rules.
Well, because the 80s is fucking weird.
Sure.
And that's the reason we have so many problems today. But, yeah, it's like stupid.
Is this like
things where you
Ronald
look
era?
coming into it?
Ronald.
But it's all stupid stuff of like,
I said Ronald, and then I was like, I should probably clarify who I'm talking about. So then I just said Ronald again, but louder.
yeah,
We can figure it
we all know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
McDonald.
Of course.
Some reviews called it a moron movie and instant junk.
Interesting. I guess I could see how this movie being seen at a certain time, some people would see and be like, that was just too much. And what was appealing about it this is definitely for like basement dwelling like freaks who love weird gore shit.
Yeah.
But it's like now
can
where
see
we're
that.
at, it's like this is really cool.
They also didn't like the characters. They thought they were like stereotypical, I guess.
Okay.
And they're not particularly deep characters, but I feel like they're pretty emotional and logical.
they're shown, they like their character. All the characters are, I feel like, are strong in like what their character is, even if we don't like see much of each of them individually.
Yeah. It's like, sure, the characters aren't, they're kind of stereotypical, I guess. It's like, you've got the leader, you've got the guy who's against the leader, you've got the bad boy, you've got like...
You got the young buck.
All this kind of... Yeah. But you understand it, and it works for the movie, and no one is out of place, and no one is like not supposed to be there. And now this movie is like beloved. At an 85, a lot of the reviewers who reviewed it back then kind of switched their tone on it after a while. But it's just like a weird thing, and this really hurt John Carpenter's career. And he did like the first Halloween, did Big Trouble Little China, Escape from New York, and They Live, and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
But this movie like tanked him because of how poorly it did and how poorly the reviews were. How poor the reviews were.
Like, did he not do much after this?
He did a lot after this, but it like this movie was supposed to be pretty big. Because like I was saying last week, it kind of riffs on the Alien thing. And then...
Yeah, Alien was 82 as well, wasn't it?
Alien was 79.
Oh, okay.
But it's sort of like playing off that, trying to play off that at least. But then just kind of doesn't work.
Yeah.
The movies he makes also get a little generally less liked as time goes on. His career kind of like dips a little bit. I love They Live. The year after this, he makes Christine, which is like the killer car movie. I don't know if you've seen that or heard about that.
I've heard about it.
He also made Starman with Jeff Bridges after this. Big Trouble Little China was after this. And then he kind of, I don't know, he gets old and stops making some movies after a while. But like, he probably would have made more big stuff if
this movie was
did well,
received as it has been now.
And also there's a lot of quotes of him like emotionally, him having been like very emotional about how poorly this movie did.
Oh,
because
bummer.
He cared about it so much. But now it's one of the most beloved horror movies of all time, and one of the most liked and on a lot of top 10 lists and things like that.
Yeah. So
I think it worked out in the end, but it's just unfortunate that it was such a bomb when it came out. Like,
yeah,
it's wild. There's also a sequel. Came out in 2013, I think, but it's from the Norwegian perspective of like the same incident.
Whoa. So it's like it's a prequel by like a day.
Yeah.
Or like a couple days.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which I haven't watched in a long time, and it made me kind of want to watch it. Now, what do I even go to next? There's so many things I love about this movie. Okay. Let's talk about why it was such a bomb.
Okay.
1982. Some other big movies came out this year. 2 weeks before this movie came out, E.T. was released. Biggest movie of the 80s, or of 82. I don't know about of the 80s. But one of the biggest movies of the 80s. Made like $600 million in the 80s, which is insane. Massive hit, was still killing the box office at this point. The same day as The Thing comes out, Blade Runner comes out. Is also a bit of a bomb, but more people go to see Blade Runner.
Yeah.
So that performs better. That takes away from this box office. And also the reviews are kind of bad for this one. Also this summer, Conan the Barbarian, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, Mad Max, the first Tron movie came out. And like it's just kind of this flow of these big budget fantasy movies, and this movie just kind
And
of
a lot of them being hits.
Yeah, and like, I don't know. Blade Runner is one of the best sci-fi movies of all time. Mad Max 2 is one of the better action movies.
Is that the Thunderdome one?
No, it's Road Warrior.
Okay.
We should do a Mad Max month. I was thinking that, by the way, because there's 4 of them, and Furiosa's coming out at some point with Anya.
Wait, no, isn't it? Wait, Anya Taylor-Joy's in it?
I think so.
But
I think she's,
Charlize
like-
Theron is in it as well.
I don't know. I think Anya Taylor-Joy, I think it's a prequel.
With a younger person playing her?
I think so.
I was just assumed that Charlize Theron was coming back.
Yeah, she's playing Furiosa. I'm sure Charlize is in it at some point. And Chris Hemsworth is a Morton Joe. That's interesting. I don't know how I like that. I'm not sure how I feel about that. But that would be fun. Anyway. What did you... I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm getting too excited.
Did you have a... Oh, you're getting too excited? Did you...
I don't know.
Is that the end of like your research
I pissed
notes?
I pissed myself.
Well,
Kind
I
of.
expected that.
I don't know. I want to hear what you're saying. There's another thing about like the music that we can get into later, but
Sure. I guess just let me ramble for a second here. Yeah, so I didn't really know what to expect going in. I immediately assumed that the dog was the thing. As soon as the dog was on screen, I was like, that's a thing for sure.
Mhm.
Like 100%.
Okay.
Mostly
You get so
because it
aggressive.
took 1 million gunshots and not a single one of them hit. I was like, he's definitely been hit. Just nothing's happening. Or that guy is a horrible shot.
He's got that stormtrooper aim, as the kids say. I don't like it when you make that face. Looks like you have no teeth. It's not a video podcast.
Yeah, but your reaction was captured at least.
Captured where?
But
So it opens. They're chasing a dog.
yeah, they're chasing a dog in a helicopter, shooting at it.
Wild.
And then it shows Kurt Russell playing chess on the computer, and then he loses and pours his drink in it, destroying it.
I think maybe the most illogical thing that happens in the movie, because everyone
At least
else in
the
the
most
station,
illogical decision that he makes. In
Yeah.
the movie.
everyone else in the station probably plays the chess game. I'd
Yeah.
assume.
Maybe.
So he's just
Probably
ruined
the
it for
only thing they could
everyone.
do.
Well, they got ping
Yeah.
pong.
Well, they got ping pong. They got
And
books. They watch reruns of reality show competitions on VHS.
Pretty sick. And they also get a little twisted and flamethrower some dogs and each other.
And yeah, they get kind of fucked up. One of them gets his head popped off, and then the head turns into a little guy, and he crawls away.
Hillary did not like the dog stuff.
I get that. I mean, I think some of it is fine. Like, I don't know. Some of it is just like killing a dog, which I've seen in John Wick. I've seen in like some video games. I'm like
Call of Duty, where they make you, when a dog jumps on you, they make you break its fucking neck.
in The Last of Us Part 2, where you gotta like, there's search dogs and you gotta kill them so that they don't alert people that are gonna come kill you.
Why don't you just
It's
bring treats?
It's
Why
sad.
is that not a game mechanic?
True, so true. I want to throw a little Tupperware of Cheerios towards the dog and distract him. But there was some of it that was bad, like, because the first time we really see the thing is when it explodes out of the dog in the kennel.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, oh, wow, this is horrible. This is horrendous.
It's a
But at
lot.
least that was like, I'm willing to accept that dog was not a dog. That dog was the thing. So that dog isn't currently feeling any pain because it's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, before this, the thing had to have killed a dog and sucked it up to look like it.
Mhm.
But like, that's not what's happening here. That's just the thing exploding out of its pretend dog body. So like, that I was like, that's gross, but I wasn't like, poor dog.
Mhm.
But then later, like, you see like a dog that got acid sprayed. You see a dog with an axe hanging out of its neck.
Yeah.
Those weren't as fun.
Yeah, it's not super cool, I should say.
Yeah.
But you know what is super cool? When the Norwegians blow up their own helicopter because they can't throw a grenade.
Yeah, he went to throw it.
And it like slipped at the back of
it. It
his
was
hand?
literally like the Wii Sports bowling thing where you throw a bowling ball behind you and they go, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It was just that was a little silly. We'll say
and
that.
Then, like, it's so interesting that he like shot that guy in the American thing, because I feel like that's like an international offense. But anyway.
That he ran into an opposing or like a different country's it's probably classified as a military base of some kind, or like a military camp.
Yeah.
Or at least a like government camp of some kind, because it's like a research center. But like, yeah, he just ran in with a gun. Now, if you think about his logic, he's like, we gotta kill this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he cares much. But here's the thing, knowing, maybe they didn't know as much as we know, having seen the movie. But like, if he shoots the dog dead, the thing is just gonna transform, be freaky, and then just go kill a person.
Yeah.
You know? So it seems like the Norwegians did not know as much as we learned throughout the film.
Yeah, and that's expected. Because I'm not really sure about their science capabilities over there. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. There's those couple of countries up there. I think they're kind of faking it. I'm not sure if they're real. I'm not sure who lives there. I'm not sure kind of how that's going. So yeah, I'm not super convinced that they would be able to figure that out if they had even their smartest minds working on it.
I want to be clear that when I'm saying yeah to him, that's more of just like acknowledging what he's saying, not necessarily agreeing.
And just and also fully agreeing and like,
no, I almost said yeah again. But I really liked the scene when they go over to check out the Norwegian base.
Yeah.
And it's like all creepy.
And it, like, we talked about this with Alien last week, where like the set design is so great. Everything feels like very lived in. It feels like for some reason everything's in the right place, or like a specific place.
Yeah.
Like everything has a purpose.
And they stay on shots of the stuff for a long time, which is another thing in Alien. They did that in this one as well. And it just lets you exist in a space a little bit.
Yeah. So like their base, the Americans' base, but then also the base they go to, that's all burnt out and all that, is just like great. It just looks great. It's incredible seeing Kurt Russell walk through this place. It's all dilapidated. And then the big ice block is like wild.
That does make me want to watch the prequel now, even if it's bad.
Yeah, I think it's a little worse from what I remember, but like, I don't know.
Here's the thing: they probably did they do CGI in the second one? Well, that kind of takes away from it, I think.
It's got Joel Edgerton though.
I do like Joel Edgerton.
Oi.
What?
Oi.
Oi?
Yeah, oi. I'm Joel Edgerton.
Are we thinking of the same guy?
He's like British, I think.
Joel Edgerton.
He's Luke's dad or Ray's dad or...
You're the worst guy. Luke's Anakin's uncle. Dad. He's Uncle Ben. He's Uncle Ben in the prequels and Obi-Wan show. But Luke's I don't think he's like that's what I'm talking about.
Well, he's more guy. Like, oi, what are you doing over there, Gov?
You're thinking of Taron Egerton.
Oh yeah, great actor. Played Elton
Great
John.
actor.
I was convinced.
I'd love to see him as Wolverine.
I'd love to see him as Elton John.
I'd love to see him as Taron Egerton.
Wow, I'd love to see him as Eddie the Eagle.
I'd love to see him.
Yeah, me too.
I want to hang out.
Wow, maybe he could be the third one.
Yeah, Taron Egerton, if you're listening to this, we want you to be the next host of Screen Share,
I choose you, Taron Egerton.
a movie podcast about Taron Egerton.
Wow, we should do a Taron month next year.
Yeah, man.
Where you get Kingsman, Eddie the Eagle.
Sing.
Sure. And what was the other one you said? Oh, Rocket Man, because I think he got nominated for an Oscar or something.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
I remember
Rocket
a lot of
Man
people
and
being
Bohemian
like,
Rhapsody the same
Rocket
movie?
Man was better than Bohemian Rhapsody, but Rocket Man got like a nomination. Bohemian Rhapsody cleaned up.
Well, I think it's because Bohemian Rhapsody made $1 billion for some godforsaken reason.
Well, honestly, it's just because it came first. Let's be honest. Rocket Man
Amen,
comes
brother.
out. Those release dates switch. I think history looks a little different.
Sorry, we just got a reboot at him. I think he started lagging there. Interesting.
Whoa, I'm back.
So they go to the other base. They find the alien body, the body of the thing, the burnt up crisps of the thing. Maybe not the best idea to bring it back to their base, but they do. That's how all good monster horror movies start. But it doesn't really matter because the dog's in their base. I just think it's kind of a silly idea to do that.
I guess they don't know. I think they're just like, this looks like a lump of human flesh.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta... Because then it's also, like, kind of horrifying when they do an autopsy and it's like, this thing's got regular organs. Like,
Yeah.
this is people.
Also, the guy doing the autopsy wearing a yellow button-down suspenders and a latex pair of gloves, and that's about it.
Yeah.
That's
Hey, they're
that's
working with what they
questionable.
got in the Arctic. The Arctic tundra.
Well, I know you'd do that, but that's just because you like it.
There's a
Like, you
movie
just
I'm
like
pretty sure
getting
we're doing
slimy.
next month that I'm really excited for that relates to the Arctic tundra.
Really? What is it? Arctic Dogs?
No.
What is next month? What's our theme next month?
Animation Month? November's
Oh, really?
animation. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You say it like it's a national fucking holiday.
Well, maybe it's a national month.
Sorry? Maybe it's a national month, you said?
Yeah, it's a national month that November's animation month for this podcast.
Oh, I
this
still
year.
gotta pick one of my movies for that.
Yeah, you got time.
We're doing 9 next week, right?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just talking like we're not doing what we're doing right now. But
Sorry, guys. A little bit of a leak into our business meeting.
So is that a business expense, or are we going to
Calder,
pay
I've
for
been
that one out of
meaning-
pocket?
Out of pocket for sure. Also, I've been
Okay,
meaning
okay,
to
thank you,
tell
thank
you that I got the email about our revenue for the past 6 months. I know we're doing a 10-90 split in your favor. I was thinking
Yes,
maybe we
of
change it to an
course.
80-20.
No,
because-
actually, that's not going to work for me. That's not going to work for me because occasionally you having to edit and do all of that stuff for it really is a hassle for me. So I'm going to need a bit more of a bigger cut. I'm thinking 95-5.
Okay, I'll agree to that, but only because we've made $566,000 in the last 6 months.
Yeah, you're not going to see that 5%.
But my point. Anyway, I don't know what to say much more about the thing. Can we just bring up some of the gross? Let's just talk about the gross effects for a minute.
I think that's the thing to touch on, and then we kind of hit everything around it. So we've got the number one is the dog.
the dog turning into a weird tentacle jelly. You know that gummy worm brand Trolley? that had those little
ads. Those ads are horrible.
Yeah, the ads that are horrible, and like they show the little gummy worms like moving around like little tentacles.
Yeah, I don't like them at all.
That's what this effect reminded me of.
It was bad.
When the little tendrils came out, I was like, those are little trolley little gummy worms.
The effect, I said it was bad, but the effect wasn't bad.
It was bad that it reminded me of an edible candy. And it's the fault of the edible candy brand, not the fault of the
because they have one of the worst campaigns I've seen.
Yeah.
Creative campaigns. Wild shit that they're doing there. But
crazy.
Yeah, so then we've got the dog.
Which I think is a good effect. I do think when it was happening, I was like, this is nuts. But then like now looking back on the film and all the different effects that they do, probably like mid to bottom tier of the effects, honestly. Like it's just a dog sprouting tentacles, whereas later I think we get stuff that's much more like interesting.
Visceral. Yeah.
Not that I don't think the effect is bad. I think we start off good and then it just goes up.
It shows you something you've never seen before, and that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
Which is impressive.
Yeah.
And then after this, they go they find the spaceship. I believe. Because they get the thing, bring it back, and go back, find the spaceship, and kind of check that out, which is wild. The spaceship effect, I think, is a matte painting.
Yeah, I could tell it was a painting, and they tried to do some lighting tricks on it to make it seem 3D, and I was like, that's impressive.
Yeah.
You still can tell that it's matte painting. But it was a good effect. I just could tell, you know.
Yeah, where they find out that it was buried 100,000 years ago.
Which they kind of just say, but like, I don't know. I trust him. Maybe he knows about, this is a guy who knows about ice.
Well, it's deep in there too, you know?
Yeah.
But back at the base, Blair runs a simulation and finds out that the creature could end all life relatively quickly, like 27,000 hours.
Within 27,000 hours, yeah.
Which is, I don't know how long that actually is, but...
Here, you keep talking, I'm going to figure it out.
Which feels, I don't know, like a good thing. Maybe we could just... But
27,000 hours is just over 3 years.
Oh, that's actually longer than I thought it would be. Interesting. Oh,
still pretty bad.
There was a video game. Anyway. So
and they were roommates.
The body that they bring back then takes over Bennings, who's the ginger guy.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna throw up.
Well, yeah, because they have the remains of the like scorched, melty person thing, and they just put it in storage. And Windows is like, we should burn this thing and get rid of it. And Bennings is like, nah, man, that's gonna net someone the Nobel Prize.
Yeah, as they're like just chilling in the same room with this maybe toxic. Like they're not very worried about these fucked up things that are as slimy as can be.
Oh yeah.
So then it takes him, and then we get the it's gorgeous when they burn his body. Like all the guys standing around him, light
and the
him,
music
light his ass
during
up.
that, they do like a little music change as they cut to the shot of like all of them standing around, and it's like panning, showing them all. I just think that was really, really good.
I'm gonna do a little sidebar on the music real quick.
Sure.
You know Ennio Morricone?
Probably.
He's done like a lot of Western music, like
Okay.
and like a lot of the Clint Eastern Westerns. He did a lot of the spaghetti Westerns.
Clint Eastern.
Clint Eastern Westerns.
Westwood.
It's
Eastern.
weird that he was Eastwood, but was in Westerns.
Yeah.
I bet you no one's thought of that.
I don't think anyone's ever thought of that, genuinely.
Yeah,
I'm being fully honest, not even lying a little bit right now.
Stupid. Yeah.
What?
So, but John Carpenter approached him, he's the legendary composer, to make music for him, and kind of gave him a vibe of what the movie's going for. And apparently Carpenter just chose the most John Carpenter score that he could, because John Carpenter made a lot of the scores for his movies. He made the Halloween score, like the do 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 do, like that. That's probably not even the right notes or beat or anything. I'm not Charlie Puth, sorry.
You don't have perfect pitch.
Not yet, at least. I'm trying. And Hillary won't quiz me, so that's why it's kind of lacking. But I'll talk to her later. But basically, he just picked a score that he could have made, and then Morricone, and then like also altered it. So then basically, Morricone didn't actually like make the score for the movie, which seems to happen a lot with composers on films, where like they'll make music for a movie and then it's not used, and then their name's still on it. But
well, I guess they still put in the work, and it probably at least in this case, it also probably inspired the music that did come.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
like
wrong.
It's still worth getting a credit.
I just think it's interesting, like, however, whatever controls that section of the thing, is like, it's so strong that like even if they don't use the composer's music, they still get the credit. And Carpenter was pretty embarrassed about not actually using his music, so he like didn't really want to show him the movie when it was coming out. Anyway.
Oh, so he just didn't tell him, and he was like,
yeah. Well, he was just kind of sheepish.
That's like George Lucas not telling David Prowse that he replaced his voice in Star Wars for Darth Vader.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, he didn't find out until the movie came out, and he was sitting there, and he was like, "That's not me."
Yikes!
There's some fun
George
footage.
Lucas is a bit of a freak, though.
Yeah. But there's some fun footage of like on-set audio from A New Hope of David Prowse, and he's just like, I forget what like his background is, but he's got like a weird European accent, and he's not intimidating at all. Just very funny. Anyway,
so we get the shot of them burning Bennings. And then shit kind of starts to go crazy after this.
Well, I do think it's worth saying, or no, this is later. That's not when Mac is chosen as the new leader, right?
No, that's a little later.
Yeah.
That's they like put Blair, I think the doctor. I don't exactly know what his position was. I think he was the doctor or like a scientist. They put him in the tool shed because he sabotaged all the vehicles and killed the dogs and destroyed the radio and like smashing all the shit up.
Because he's like, we need to die out here.
And then
this thing's too dangerous. Yeah.
And then they have this idea for a blood test. But then the blood's gone. It's just like problem. It's like we have an idea. And then there's a problem, or like someone messes up.
It's a lot of things where it's like, oh, that
wrong.
should work. That's like an easy solution. And then it's messed up because just at the last second, something goes wrong.
Mm-hmm. And it's just like very clean and well written and very economic, because the movie's not even like that long. It's like an hour 45 without credits. So it's pretty like, It moves pretty quickly, but there's not a ton of stuff in there, so it's not like you're trying to follow like 6 things. So then after the blood's gone, there's like there's a bunch of shit. I don't know. It goes crazy. Mac takes command of the ship, and then they do maybe the best scene in the movie. Or actually, sorry, before we get to that, the defibrillator effect where he's trying to revive the guy and his chest opens up and eats his arms. Yeah. And then his arms he goes, get pulled off.
Yeah.
And then, oh my God, it's insane.
And then the head does it like
falls off,
slowly falls off. Like it kind of like melts off and then grows little spindly spider arms.
It's wild. It's like, the thing about the effects in this movie is there's stuff that you have never seen. It's all stuff that you've never seen. In Alien, there's a bit of that. Like, the creature of the alien is like a pretty new invention. But like, this is otherworldly. Like, this is inhuman. Whereas
Alien
is
still, like, whoa, I've never seen a design like that. This is like, how did you, who thought of this? How'd you come up with that?
Yeah, how'd you come up with, got two heads, but they're like 6 inches apart and
they're melting into each other. Like, they're, like, there's very clearly two separate mouths, but like, it kind of looks like it's the same person's head at the same,
And a lot of it feels very like Beetlejuice, where like the first time you watch Beetlejuice, you're kind of like, who the fuck thought of this? Like, heads spinning and these snakes and all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, it works and it's fun. But this... Anyway, they burn the thing that opens its chest and eats things. Crazy.
Then the head crawls behind them without them noticing, and then they notice, and then they burn that too.
Which I think helps them realize that the thing tries to protect itself from damage. I guess is a good way to phrase that. Which then inspires their next blood test, which is one of the great scenes of this movie. Probably my favorite.
I genuinely think, the blood test scene is my favorite scene.
Yeah, it's just perfectly tense, but then also once they get past the place where like they figure out who the first person with infected blood is, there's like a pace to the editing and like a way that they...
it's really slow leading up to the first time that the test works, and then it kind of picks up after that because we're like, okay, we know. Let's see who's next.
It communicates how the alliances form after that very quickly.
I feel like that scene kind of gets you in on everybody's motivations at the time, and also gives you kind of like you there's an understanding that everybody remaining is okay, and it's maybe the first time in the movie since the beginning where it's like, I know where everyone's trust is now. Whereas, like, the entire movie is kind of no one knowing what's going on, and that's a brief period before everything falls apart again. That it's like, okay, we know what's going on.
Yeah, what I wrote down was that this movie feels very human, unlike, in a way, Alien. Because Alien has a pretty clear, like, hero, where it's like someone is going to save the day, whereas in this no one feels like a hero. And they kind of aren't in a way, but like Mac isn't a hero. You wouldn't look to him and be like, that guy's gonna save the day. So it just feels like it's actually just a bunch of people like trying to figure this thing out that is unsolvable.
I honestly feel like it's very similar to Alien in that at the beginning, I mean, I guess the thing like is a bit more obvious about it, but like both movies kind of don't give you a perfectly clear picture of who the protagonist is until like a bit in. But even in the thing, there's a point where it's like maybe Mac is kind of a little bit the villain now, because like everyone is suspect of him being the thing because like they determined that like there were holes in somebody's trunks, somebody's
they found
underwear,
his like torn up underwear or whatever.
Well, yeah, he has a scene where he's like doing a log on the radio or something. He's like, we found torn up underwear, but there's no name tag. And then later, his name tag is found on torn up underwear. It's like, oh shoot, well that's pretty. Was that ever like really resolved, like who did that or what happened?
No, There's a lot of stuff that just goes unresolved. Like there's
Yeah.
that spaceship under the
Yeah, I
what's
wanted
it,
them to go
outpost?
in.
The shed or whatever.
Oh yeah, that
just,
as well.
They just blow up.
Yeah.
And then like Knowles accuses Mac of being the thing when he comes back in, and that's why everyone's against him, because they like go out to Mac's office, because I guess Mac is like technically the leader.
Well, yeah, he's elected the leader because what was it? Gary
but even
was the
before-
leader. Gary's
think
the
he
leader,
might-
and then he gives Mac. Although Mac kind of just makes himself leader because Childs is like, I'll be the leader, and everyone's like, no, and Mac takes the gun from him and is like, no way, you're like too temperamental, and then Mac is just the leader. I do think Mac is the best candidate for leader just because he's very good at being like, this is what we're doing. This is like,
and he's the calmest.
yeah.
Yeah, but Knowles finds that his like shirt torn up in the office or whatever when they go to check it, and then that's why he thinks that Mac is the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like after this blood scene, after the blood test scene, I feel like they're all human, I guess, like all people.
Yeah.
They don't feel like a bunch of characters who don't know what's happening. It's like there's an
It feels like they're all
understanding.
trying to figure it out together.
Yeah. Which I like.
Mm-hmm.
I think this movie just, though the characters are pretty thin, I think they're all enjoyable and all kind of fun to be around. And it's just got great visuals.
The one that honestly is like the least a character is the younger guy who...
with the roller skates?
No. I like him a lot. Knowles, I like him.
Yeah.
I mean the younger
I like
white
him
guy
too.
who like is kind of Mac's right-hand man for a very, very brief period.
Is it the curly-haired guy?
Yeah, and he has glasses. He's the one where like
Oh,
they find him
yeah, where they
burnt
go
up.
out into the thing. They go out into the snowplow or whatever to talk.
yeah, the
I
whatever
don't
it
think
is.
it's a snowplow. 'cause
Snow
it's
vehicle.
whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what he is doing or like what he does.
I
but
think he just
know,
works well as like a character to get Mac to care. Because Mac's very like, I literally just want to go up into my cabin and drink. And here's the truth. I honestly think Mac goes into his cabin and drinks instead of talking to him. Like, more people probably die. Because that's when Bennings gets got. Bennings probably gets others as well. Because Mac is all the way in his cabin. So
another like underrated effect or visual, I guess, is just the guys in the jackets running away after they've become the thing. Because I think it's just done so well where they're like stumbling all over, and I think it happens in that scene.
yeah.
But like, yeah, that the thing of like Mac being like, oh fuck, maybe I should deal with this. It just feels like a thing.
Well, it's kind of
Like,
a
it
him
feels like
being
a
like,
real
I don't
choice
care,
of
I don't care,
character
I don't care. And then he's like, and it could wipe out like everyone, and it takes the form of people and is like perfect copies of them. And that's when he's like, oh, like it's like we have been infiltrated. And I like how the movie ends kind of on a note that's like, I don't know if they succeeded or not. Because I was afraid
one of those two guys could be the thing.
Yeah, I was afraid that they were going to do a thing where like Mac kills the thing and then it ends with him like dying. But then they do one last shot where they show a little thing where maybe the thing's still alive, because I feel like everything does that.
Yeah.
And I hate that because it gives you the yay victory, but also doesn't.
But
Because then it's like, oh, so actually it didn't matter. Whereas this is like leaving it as an unknown is much more intriguing and enjoyable than like choosing one thing but then hinting at another thing. Because yeah, it's like honestly, Childs could literally be the thing right now, at the end.
Yeah.
And then it's like, honestly, Mac could be too, actually. And it's just a thing.
Just because
like,
he killed a part of him doesn't mean that he's not the thing.
Yeah. I mean, as I was watching the movie, I was like, there's definitely theories online that are like, Mac is the thing for basically the whole movie. Or something.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. But I think the ending is why the movie was kind of so poorly received. Even though I think it's a great ending as well. Like, the fact that it's not a definitive thing, especially in this time where like the 80s was big action blockbusters where it's like
People are just
good guy
looking
wins
for an
in the
escape.
end. Yeah. But then it turns out to be this like kind of depressing, confusing if you're not really watching ending that's also feels a little abrupt.
Yeah. It is an abrupter.
Which is, it's better than like, I don't know, even if something showed up to save them, I wouldn't like that.
What do you think of
You
this
know?
alternate ending? Mac kills the thing. For sure, it's dead for sure. Maybe Child shows up and he's like, are you the thing? And he's like, no. And then he turns out to be the thing and then he kills him or something.
Childs kills Mac?
No, Mac kills Childs because Childs is like, I'm not the thing. And then he turns out to be, I don't know. But then the sun starts to rise in the distance. Mac begins walking towards the sun. It's a silhouette shot of him walking into the sunset on the horizon. And a little dog shows up and is walking beside him. And he pets the dog. And they keep walking and some nice music's playing. And then right before the credits roll, the dog grows big mouth and eats Kurt Russell. Thoughts on that? Is that better or worse?
You just fixed it. You fixed it.
Fixed it? It's better? That's a
Yeah,
better
you
ending?
fixed it, yeah.
Nice.
I think, honestly, I kind of think the visual of like someone walking into the sunset and then turning into a massive monster is cool.
Yeah.
So
I
there's
honestly
something.
genuinely like a walking into the sunset shot. I just feel like it's not done enough, and it's when it is done, I feel like it's rarely done like well. Or they like hint at it. But like everyone's always like, and then they walked into the sunset, and I'm like, I never actually see that. Walk
I think
into
the
the
best
sunset
one-
more.
The best one I could think of right now is Last Crusade,
Same.
where the final shot is them riding off into the sunset.
And then they made 2 more after that. Uh-oh.
Yeah, we should do an indie month.
We almost
We
did
will.
this year. We almost did an indie month leading up to Indie 4, but then you decided to get married around that time. You selfish sack
you-
of shit. Sorry,
Yeah,
that was
Spank me.
thanks.
Um,
Wait, did you say
They also-
thank me or spank me?
no. That was a bigger thing in like westerns too. That was like an older movie thing. It's like how the floppy disk is the save icon, where it's just like a thing that used to happen or a thing that used to matter, but it's just kind of still exists and no one cares.
Yeah.
And people are just like, oh, they walk off into the sunset. It's like, Clint, I haven't done that since fucking Clint Eastwood in 1964. Why am I talking about Clint so much?
I think you just love yourself some Clint.
Yeah. Jersey Boys, you ever see that one? Sherry, baby.
Do you know where to find the Clint?
In the Avengers. Clint Barton. Jeremy Renner. This fall, Jeremy Renner is Clint Barton.
Dude,
in
I have a
Hawkeye,
podcast.
the sitcom.
I have a podcast I've been listening to for the Ahsoka show, which is wrapped up now.
What's
A
it
while
called?
back. It's one of the Ringer podcasts. It's called The Midnight Boys.
Oh, I like them.
Yeah, they're like, it took some getting used to because they're all like big characters and there's a lot of them talking. So it took me like a couple episodes to actually know who's talking when and like get who is what way. But like it was really fun because they're all just a bunch of goofy guys. But they referenced a term called flipping the quarter or something, I think. And it's because
Okay.
in Hawkeye, there's a scene where Clint Barton flicks a quarter at the TV and it turns it off. And then Kate Bishop almost immediately learns how to do it perfectly after failing like once. So they use it as a term for like when somebody learns something for plot reasons and not because it makes sense that they learned it. Or they just do something without like having the skills required. And I was like, that's really interesting. Anyway, I just thought of that because you said Hawkeye, but
Anyway, I'm so excited for the Hawkeye sitcom with Jeremy Renner.
is that happening?
I don't know. I hope not.
I hate that
is there
I like
anything else?
genuine question. Did you just make that up or did you get
Yeah, I
that
just
from
made
somewhere?
that up.
Yeah, see, it's insane that I thought that was real, but I believed it. That's how much
It's a
trash is
multicam.
being made, man.
It's a multicam with Renner, Florence Pugh, and Haley Steinfeld.
It's actually pretty amazing that for WandaVision they were able to make a perfect classic sitcom show and just capture all of the different eras of sitcom while also making
for
it
like 4
a
episodes.
horror. Like near the end they kind of went into like horror.
Actually, Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness is probably the scariest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I literally shit my pants in the theater. They had to wheel me out in a wheelchair because I couldn't walk anymore. My legs didn't work anymore because I was so scared. My bum hole seized up so tight that my butt cheeks didn't work, and I was stuck in the same position for 14 days because I was so scared. I just so clenched up my bum hole. And then I couldn't poop for so long that it was so hard when it came out. It just hurt so much. It hurt so much to poop the next day. Oh my god! And I ate 3 extra large popcorns because I was so scared. I had to keep throwing them on the ground and going out to get a new one.
Who's your favorite character in this movie?
I think I like Childs. I think he's
You
kind of
like Childs? I was gonna say I like
cool.
Knowles.
I like Knowles too.
I just like that he's a
I
young
think,
guy.
I think Mac's also cool, and I feel like the radio guy has something to him, but he's not in the
Windows.
movie enough. Yeah,
Yeah, I felt like he was like likable because he seemed like he was frantic and kind of panicked and a bit of an asshole, but he was also kind of loyal a little bit. Like he had that one freak out where he went for the rifles, but like especially during the blood test scene, he like kind of becomes like
the right hand guy.
yeah, he's
I
like
guess we've said that about
Mac's
two people,
guy. Yeah.
But,
But then he's also an idiot because Mac is very clearly having issues with his flamethrower, and then the thing is standing in front of Windows, and everyone's yelling to kill it. And Windows
He
is
just
like,
doesn't.
and then he gets his whole head bitten off. Which, by the way, one thing I noticed. Every time they're flame throwing the thing or some rendition of the thing, it like makes that like sound. It doesn't do that when he's burning Windows' body, which made me
so
think
maybe
like
he wasn't fully the thing.
I don't think he was the thing. I just think he like had his head basically off, but was still just Windows. Like
yeah,
I think
maybe
the
it hadn't
answer-
like taken fully control of him or something.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
So I just found that interesting where I was like, I think he's just literally burning Windows right
That's
now.
that's a neat little cinema win. Cinema wins.
Cinema win number 1. Mac is played by Kurt Russell, who's an absolute alpha. He's so cool. He's one of the great actors. Cinema win number 2. They shot this movie on film.
Cinema win number 3. There's no women in this movie, and as we all know, we hate women.
Cinema win number 4. It's actually real life to what would happen because there are no women in this movie.
They
Again,
don't
just
have
repeating,
women
there
in
are no
Antarctica
women.
because they get too cold.
Yeah.
And then they whine and nag and complain.
I don't like this bit anymore.
Okay,
To be
cinema
fa-
sin number 1.
I want to be clear that was playing a character.
Yeah, that was playing the character named Adam Cook.
And I don't like you even pretending that I hate cinema sins, I'll be fully honest, and I think I always have.
Yeah, I watched a handful, and all of the sins are not important. There's like maybe 5 that are actually important in every video.
Yeah, I'll watch a
and
video.
they get the exact same amount of time as the ones that are unimportant.
Yeah. I'll watch one of their, I mean, I haven't watched one of their videos in years, but I would watch one of their videos and end the movie being like, or end the video being like, oh yeah, there were a couple things in there that I didn't really think about, and that's like a little bit of a plot hole or something like that. Or like, I guess that is a poor aspect of the film. But then I'd look up at the sin counter and it's at like 587. And I'm like, yeah.
And most of
maybe.
it's like, why is this guy in the background here? What is this guy doing?
Yeah.
And you're like,
But
it's kind of like red
also
letter
the guys
media
would be like,
criticism.
it's jokes, guys. They're not all actual criticisms. It's jokes. But then when it's like, I don't know. But then they've also, I don't want to talk about cinema sins. There's nothing I'd rather do less.
Everyone's begging us to talk about cinema sins.
Okay, let me
You've
just.
seen the Twitter. You've seen the Telegram. You've seen the Discord. You've seen our True Social.
Oh, Kurt Russell's goofy ass hat, his big old cowboy hat.
I love it. I want one.
The best
Sorry, I
shot
started
is
fidgeting
when they're
something.
like at the spaceship site and they do a shot of them looking over the edge and he just pops up and you just see the outline of his absolutely massive
It's just-
cartoon hat,
Yeah.
which I thought was pretty funny.
Incredible.
I wrote, I get why Kurt Russell was a heartthrob.
Yeah.
I kind of get it, you know?
Also, can I mention one thing?
Yeah.
Kurt Russell works with John Carpenter a couple more times. He's in Escape from New York and Big Trouble in Little China. Keith David also does. He's in They Live. We will do They Live on this podcast one day. But Keith David's incredible. I love him so much. I was so happy when he was in Nope.
Which one
I
is
hope he's
he
in more
here?
stuff.
Is he Gary?
He's Childs.
Oh, Childs. Okay.
Yeah.
Literally, like, perhaps the two most opposite characters. I just had no idea. I thought I
he's
recognized him. He
great.
looked like someone who... I also thought I recognized Knowles.
Knowles. Maybe. Let me see who the actor is. Knowles is TK Carter.
Is he in anything else?
He's in... Not really.
Okay.
He was a voice in the Transformers for one episode. He's in Space Jam as Monster Nart. Or Not?
That's definitely...
Monster Not?
That's definitely not enough for me to have actually recognized him.
He's in The Way Back with Ben Affleck. He's in My Favorite Martian.
He, like, just looks so much like someone. It's his eyes, man.
Yeah,
I'm looking at his...
that makes sense. I mean, he's pretty great in this movie for someone who
Yeah.
didn't really do a ton after. He plays Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby in a movie called Bad Ass. Interesting. He was in an episode of NYPD Blue. That's probably what it's
That's
from.
probably it. We can...
Yeah.
Honestly, we could stop. I truly thought I recognized him from something. I have
I don't
no
know,
idea what...
Some people look the same. Half the white dudes in this movie look like the exact same. fucking
That is
person.
true.
I couldn't tell half. of them
It took a
apart.
while. The doc and then the other doc look almost the exact same.
Yeah, I don't know who any of them are.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, what were you saying? You were saying something about something.
I don't know. Knowles was my favorite character, I think. Although he's also a bit of an idiot at the end. 'Cause like Gary, they're setting up the dynamite and then Gary goes and sets it up and then he quickly leans just enough for there to be room in the shot for the thing to show up, which was a little bit obvious, but I was anticipating it kind of worked. And was that Blair? Like that was the guy in the shed? Or was
I
that
think
the other
so,
guy?
yeah.
Because I thought it was the other guy, the other doc, whose like chest burst open, and I was like, did the thing just like perfectly replicate him, but later now? But then I was like, no, it makes way more sense for that to be Blair.
Yeah, I think it was Blair.
But they just look so similar, I truly couldn't tell. But yeah, Gary is killed. But then Knowles looks over and sees Gary's body being dragged instead of... up until that point, Knowles
Dude.
multiple times had been like, guys, you got to come see this. Everybody come see this. Guys, there's something you got to see. Like, he specifically did that multiple times. And this time he didn't think to go, hey, Mac, I just saw something over there. We should probably blow this dynamite. Get out of here. He just slowly walks towards it.
When he's putting his fingers under
Into
his
his
skin. Oh my God. That's insane.
Because we don't really see... I was going to mention this earlier. We don't actually see many of the Thing kills.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, even the dog with the dogs, we see him spray acid, but, like, we mostly just come in and some of the dogs are dead. And then with
the only one we
Bennings,
really see is the chest burster, I guess. Like the chest breaking open.
Yeah, because with Bennings, we leave and then come back and he's being devoured by the Thing. And he's almost fully transitioned into Bennings.
The Thing. Yeah. Or Bennings, sorry.
Well, into the Thing version of Bennings, yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't really see it. And then and then there's the chest defibrillator thing. I guess we see that.
I think that's the most like visceral one, where it's like interacting with the people and like it's very in the world. The effect we haven't talked about a bunch is the last one.
Because it's
with
just
the
a big
thing.
mound with all of them.
Yeah. I think it looks really cool.
It looks good. It's just the most boring design, you know?
Yeah. You just kind of like, at the end of the movie, you're like, oh, it's also not really interacting with anyone, right?
Can I be honest? It's the rise of Skywalker of the effects. Where it's like, yeah, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
It's just like,
but like the other
it's all
ones
the
are
stuff
so
I've
cool.
seen before. Wait,
Yeah.
the Thing appearance, unless what a Childs or Mac are in the final scene, but the last like grotesque effect Thing appearance in this movie is like the John Williams score of Rise of Skywalker, where it's like, it's not bad. It's actually good. It's just like, it's all remixed stuff.
Yeah, it's like, I get it already, guys.
Yeah. And then also the Thing appearance during the blood test scene, which I guess we see that kill. But we
What was
also
your
don't see
favorite
it kill,
effect?
what's his name? The boring white guy with glasses who like was reading the doctor notes.
I couldn't tell you his name.
Like that one we don't see either. We see him find
Clark
Max
or Cooper
underwear. Something like that. I don't
Clark or
care. I know it
Cooper?
started with K.
None of them start with K, so.
Zoiks? What was it?
Yep, that's it. Actually, he's on there. Zoiks is on there.
Are
what
you
was your favorite
are you
effect?
joking? Because that was a genuine
Zoiks is
guess.
not on there. You actually thought his name was Zoiks.
Okay, then what's his name?
There's a guy named Fox, apparently.
That's it.
F-U-C-H-S.
It's like Fuchs. That's what I was
Fuchs?
trying to say. Fuchs, that's it. But like when he's killed, we just see him see Max underwear, and then we come back and he's a burnt crisp.
Yeah, which they think he did to himself. Which I
Yeah,
guess
they
makes
think
sense.
he did that to himself to stop himself from becoming the Thing. Which
What's your
I
favorite
guess there's no
effect?
way of knowing, but what?
What's your favorite effect? I think that one where he gets his fingers under his skin is scary
Nasty.
to me.
Yeah, and then him dragging him away with his hand fully engulfed in his skin.
Yeah.
And, like, dragging it, yeah. Because I think that
Like-
would also be the worst death. Because that
Yeah,
might have
I
been
think so.
slow.
The other ones are like a lot more aggressive,
Yeah.
but like that's a nightmare
Yeah.
to me.
I honestly think my favorite effect is just like the first thing they find, which is not the dog, but like the
body.
body that's just like very clearly more than one body, but it's kind of
Yeah.
all one body. Like
It's hard to like discern what's going on, but you can also understand it in a way.
yeah, which makes it scarier, and that's kind of like basically the first thing we see. So it kind of sets the tone and the expectation a little bit.
Is Olivia the thing? Have you tested her blood?
I have walked in on her sometimes, and there are like tentacles coming out of her head. But I always just assumed those were trolley gummy worms, to be honest. To be fully
She does
frank.
eat those a lot too, so it's kind of like a 50-50 shot.
I don't think she's ever eaten a trolley. I don't even think she likes gummy worms. She does like Twizzlers, though, and that's basically the same thing.
Is there anything else?
The thing did look like Twizzlers pull-in peels, dude.
It did, yeah.
There you go. Maybe she is
I
the
used to
thing.
eat pull and peels all the time. You know what I did when I ate a pull and peel?
Eat it not peeled.
Yep.
Dude, have you ever gotten a Kit Kat and just bitten into it?
Probably.
It's like...
You gotta live on the edge.
It feels
sometimes.
wrong, but there's something very satisfying about it. Because,
It's kinda like...
it's not as satisfying to, like, on one little stick, you know? But, like, something about biting... Because Kit Kats, I find, are harder than, like, most other candies, because they've got to be so that you can get the snap of breaking them off. But so something about, you know? Something about biting into it.
I'm more of a chunky boy myself.
Kit Kat Chunky.
I like a Kit Kat Chunky, yeah.
They're just a bit too thick for me.
Do you... that's what I'm into.
There
Feels
you
like
go.
I'm playing the trumpet again, if you know what I mean. Actually, I should have said saxophone, but I never played the saxophone.
Tuba.
I was always kind of like, when dudes were playing the saxophone, I was kind of like, what are you doing there? You're just sitting there.
I do.
Sucking
There
on
would
the
be
reed.
times, because I played the drums in band, so I was at the back. I could see everyone, and this is what I'll tell you about those saxophone players. They be licking that reed frequently.
Yeah, they're...
In between, they'll just be like on the mouthpiece, and I'm like, I understand you need to do that, but you're doing it very aggressively.
Play a brass instrument like a man.
Well, then the
Put your
brass
little lips
guys
together.
would like take a second when they don't have to play and eject their spit valve. It's like, that's just as disgusting, man. Is that you playing the trumpy?
Yeah.
There you go.
I can't believe I played the trumpet at some point in my life.
This
It's
is what I'll say.
shocking.
Least gross band member. I hate to say it because it was me. It got to be the drummer. What
Yeah,
am
but
I
that doesn't
doing that's
count.
gross?
That's different. That doesn't count.
Okay. Well, then probably
It's gotta be
flute
like a
players
blow.
then.
Yeah, probably flute. That's probably why the girls play the flute, if I'm being honest.
Wow, that is stereotyping. I'll be honest.
It is weird how, like, even in, like, high school, it kind of, like, sorts out to, like, dudes play specific instruments and girls play other ones, even though there's
Yeah.
no, like, reason for it.
And you see like a girl trumpet player and you're like, wow. And it's like, that's not because of anything. That's just because less of the girls play it's fully,
She's
I
fun to
think, a
play the
social
trumpet.
thing.
And she's better than me.
And you know that if a guy signed up for being flute, everyone would be like, why are you signing up for flute where you don't want trombone? And it's like, no, I don't want trombone. When
My arms aren't that long.
in the 7th grade, when we had to sign up for instruments, it was we had to write down our top 3 in order, and then they kind of like figured it out to give everyone something they kind of wanted. So what I did was I put drums at the top, I left 2 blank, and then wrote flute on the 3rd, and then I added a 4th one and wrote clarinet, I think, because I was like, whatever. Because I didn't
You're an
want a
innovator.
brass, because I didn't want to go all the time, because my brother played the trombone and he always complained about his lips hurting, and I was like,
Your brother complains about a lot of stuff, though. Sorry, Matt. I'll beat him up. I'll beat your brother up. I don't care. I'll beat your brother up. I'll beat him up.
I think you
What was he
could
saying
beat
the
him
other
up,
day?
but I think you wouldn't go as hard as he did.
No, I'll beat him up.
I think
I'll
if
beat him
there's weapons, Matt wins, honestly. If it's just
What kinds
just
of weapons?
bare-fisted, I think you're winning, yeah.
up. What about this?
Calder just mimicked, I think, holding a broadsword.
Yeah. What about that?
I mean, that's pretty long, and you've got, like, the reach, to be honest.
So he's dead. Sorry, Matt. See you next year. Do you have anything to say before we get to Adam Driver?
No. Let me check.
Who loves to answer a question and then be wrong.
Oh,
by
last
his own
thing.
answer.
I like how they checked. They opened the little window in the shack to see how Blair's doing, and there's just a noose.
I like that too.
And-
That's a nice little bit of set design.
And it's not acknowledged by anyone. It's just like
yeah.
they kind of are just like, yeah, and I guess it makes.
I mean, he's probably figure he's gonna kill himself.
Here's my question actually. We're not getting into every character, but when do you think Blair was the thing? Like, when do you think Blair became the thing?
I think he became the thing while he was in there.
But before or after that check-in scene?
After. I think he would have killed
Okay.
himself before.
Okay.
And then after, he doesn't want to kill himself. Because he's building his ship.
Right.
I also don't have the cinema sins in front of me to...
Well, here's the thing. I assumed that the ship... Because the ship looked like a UFO,
yeah.
similar to the one in the ice.
Mm-hmm.
So I assumed that wasn't Blair building that to get... Because they're like, oh, he must have been building this to get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't think that was Blair. I think that was the thing.
Yeah, me too.
But, like, Blair was getting the wires and stuff for that way before. Like, before he was even put in the ship.
Interesting.
Like, he was taking stuff from that little rover and then ran inside. And that's when they checked and were like, whoa, he's taking stuff from this rover. And then he has his freak out in the radio room.
So maybe he's the thing before.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know.
Because I think the ship is for the thing. I don't think a human is building a UFO to escape.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess he was the thing before. And then maybe was like, oh, fucking hang a noose up here so they think I'm human.
Maybe. But then it's like, if he was the thing, then why is it that when they, like... When Mac punched him unconscious, the thing wasn't just like... and, like, killed him.
Maybe it was like, I don't know. Maybe he was, like, beating it in a struggle for his own body or something.
Maybe.
Maybe you could fight against it for a while.
Maybe. Anyway, that was the one character where I'm like, I'm really curious when he did the switch.
I think the Adam Driver for this is pretty obvious.
Go ahead and say it.
I think it's probably Mac.
Probably.
Even though Kurt Russell is incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't... That's the only role with, like, meat on it and the one that I'd want to see him in.
Yeah.
I'm sure he could probably play the other guys, but, like, the other roles don't have huge characters.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know, we're recasting him into something, so it'd be weird to recast him as, like, the first guy that dies, like Bennings.
Yeah.
Right?
I recast him as the dog.
I recast him as the Norwegian.
I mean, maybe.
I don't even think you can see the Norwegians' faces. Because he gets his ass blasted
Yeah.
by that one guy through the window.
Yeah, that was one
in
thing.
an
It's like, why
Arctic-
shoot him in the head, man?
Also, why smash the window to shoot him? You're in the Arctic. Now you got to deal with a broken window.
Yeah, open the door.
Yeah, that was weird.
Gary,
Now let's
not
get
a
into
very
the-
smart leader.
Let's get into the big money of it all.
All right, let's do it.
The rank. The rank.
I want you to start because I started with Alien.
I'd like to pull it up first because every time I type in Google Keep, it takes me to a different Google account. And just put a fucking shoot over the fucking head. Where do I put this in a way that I don't get in trouble from Adam?
Yeah.
Did you
Well,
just
just
hit
be
your
honest.
pen?
Just be honest. Just be honest. What'd you say?
You just hit your pen?
No.
Oh. Interesting. I think there's a ghost behind you or something.
Yeah. This is a haunted house. That's why we got the rent for so cheap.
Will we?
Will we?
That wasn't even on purpose.
Amazing.
I'll tell you what I'm debating.
Okay, go for it.
Before or after Alien?
I'm not
What about
sure.
you?
I'm thinking a little lower than that personally.
Because you're a scumbag and you don't like the world, you don't like to live.
Do I like this better or worse than Close Encounters of the Third Kind? I think I
Oh,
probably like this
interesting.
better. Game night. Honestly, I might put it at 10 as my instinct.
Interesting. So I'm thinking
Because
maybe
I love it.
5.
I think it's great.
You put it at 10. I think a happy medium is above Harry Potter at 8. Or maybe above Black Klansman at 7.
I'd rather
we
watch
average
Black
out what we
Klansman
do.
100 times out of 100, I think. 99
Okay.
times, we'll say.
Well, I think you'd also rather watch Harry Potter, but Harry Potter's dog shit.
I'll kill you.
And when we do our reshuffle next year,
You're going to fuck me, but
Harry Potter's going to
you
the
better
bottom.
bet your bottom dollar that I'm going to fuck you too.
Hey Adam, Harry Potter, it's going down to 52, even if we haven't done 52 movies by then.
It's going to stay at the bottom until we hit 52, and then it's going to stay there.
And then we're bumping it down to 100, just so we have some room.
Yeah. I definitely don't want to put it above Black Klansman. I am hesitant to put it above Perry Plopper and the Poop Stone.
Well, here's the thing about Harry Potter. Look, I don't want to get into this. It's late. You know, we've been doing this for a little while. There's 16 movies on this list I'd put above Harry Potter, and that's not even an exaggeration. So
fine, but I don't want it above Black Klansman.
we put it below Black Klansman,
I'm fine with
below Black Klansman, above Harry Potter.
That's fair.
Slotted in at number 8.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Maybe I'll put the date on it in case we do the old or the new one.
Oh yeah, sure.
Put the wrong bracket in. Not 1882. What am I fucking? Is it the War of 29? Whatever. What was that war in Canada? War of 1882. Is that right?
1812,
1812.
1912,
1812. 1912 was like when there was things going on.
Is Canada as old as 1812 though? I don't think so.
Well, that was like what it was for,
Oh.
kind of, in a way.
This is one thing
I
I will
think.
tell you. If there's one thing I will tell you, it's that I'm not a history major.
Yeah, you're also not a lot of other things either.
All right, so that's the thing.
Like a nice guy. And that's the thing for this week. Thanks for coming in, and listening to Screen Share, also known as Scream Scare, when we're in the spooky month of October.
Shit, we forgot to open it that way.
Okay, let's redo it.
Okay, sure.
Hi everyone, welcome to Scream Scare Movie Podcast about getting your ass eaten by a big monster. My name's Calder.
Appreciate you listening. If you did, if you didn't, you'll never know what I want to say about you, and it's something very rude. If you like this show, you could follow it on Spotify or whatever other thing you use. That's kind of like a gray market, illegitimate shadow podcast player like Google Podcasts or Apple. Is it Apple Podcasts?
Here, this is where we're available as far as I'm aware.
Stitcher?
We are available on Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, my apologies, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pocket Casts, and I believe that's it right now.
Yeah, so if you liked it, give us a follow, give us a little review on however they do it on whatever platform you're on, and I don't know, listen to the next episode, which is about 9.
9.
I think our movies are getting a little... is 9 scary?
9
I've never
has...
seen 9.
You've never seen it?
No.
This is genuinely one of the movies that first came to mind when we started this podcast, and I was like, I get to make you watch movies. Because it's like, it's just a weird one. I feel like not a lot of people have seen it. I watched it as...
Is it like a Coraline kind of vibe?
I don't really want to say anything about it, to be frank. Okay. And it's kind of just
what
weird.
Are you, Kevin Spacey?
It's just kind of weird, is what I'll say about
you
it.
You ever watch those videos of Kevin Spacey doing his Frank Underwood character on YouTube?
No.
Let me be frank. The world's coming down on me. I don't know what he actually says, but it's some dog shit.
Have
it's
you seen
really
him
weird and creepy.
NASCAR?
I don't want to.
He goes,
like recently or a while?
Gentlemen, start your engines.
I think you're talking about Kevin James.
Did you say?
Kevin Spacey.
I was thinking of Kevin James.